What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bit of Everything podcast. This is Tom,
This is Ratish.
and today we have a special guest, our roommate Andrew. How's it going, Andrew?
Pretty good.
Awesome. We spent like the last half hour figuring out how to get another mic for Andrew, but it worked out. So
Yeah, I'd say so.
exciting stuff. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We got a lot of good responses off the first podcast, and we're excited to do another one for you. What are we talking about today? Do we have a topic?
Yeah, I was thinking we could take it a bit more casual than last time and talk about book to movie adaptations, or just adaptations in movies in general.
The good and the bad.
Yeah, the good and the bad.
The good and the Aragon. Yeah, sweet. I just want to say we spent like the last 2 hours cleaning our apartment.
My hands smell like Clorox. It's really
We just
gross.
smell like Lysol and Clorox,
Yeah.
and it's amazing.
I'm not
It
gonna.
actually feels really good though.
Yeah, it does. Like it looks good, but I just can't eat anything ever now because
Yeah.
it's too many chemicals.
Take a
It's fine.
shower.
Yeah.
I just want to say though, if you need to clean your apartment and you know it, you should just do it because it feels awesome
Yeah, it does.
once you're done. So do it.
Great psychological benefit.
Clean your room.
In your room.
Clean your room. I agree with that.
All right. So do you have a few movies you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, we could. So I'm pulling this stuff up online. There's Harry Potter. There's Twilight. We're not going to talk about that unless you want to.
I can't because I've never seen them and I've never read them.
Oh, I've done both.
You've really read them.
I've read the first one.
Is it good?
and- No.
I'm like always curious because like it gets a bad rap, but I
Yeah.
don't know anything about it.
It was written really, really weird. I read it in like middle school, so it's been a while. I don't remember it very much.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Kinky.
I know it was great.
Didn't it start off as 50 Shades fan fiction?
It's the other way around.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. That's right. That's even weirder almost.
Yeah, I think it is. But yeah, I watched the movie and I read the book, and like the movie was very poorly made. I remember that. But the book, I don't remember too much of it actually. I said it was bad, but honestly like it's been like 10 years, so I don't really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we could talk about Harry Potter cuz we've all watched them at least, right?
We have watched them.
Yes.
You haven't read them, right,
I have
Andrew?
not.
That's okay.
That's okay.
And I've only seen them once.
Well, I want to know your perspective from watching the movies without reading the books. Were they easy to follow?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
They started off a lot more, maybe you could say innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the time went on, and like the effects changed, production got better,
Yeah.
higher budget, that kind of thing. But they definitely matured with the audience, which is maybe everybody says that, but maybe they say because it's true.
Right.
So
right.
that's the impression I got. At
Okay.
least.
Because I don't know, because some of the movies, like, I feel like they'd be hard to follow for me if I hadn't read the book. Like the fourth one, namely, because, like, in the beginning, you have no idea what's going on. They're just going to the Quidditch World Cup, and they don't tell you anything until you get there.
Yeah, that one
You
was
know?
kind of rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the seventh one was probably the most accurate adaptation to the book almost because it was 2 parts, so they had the time to do it.
Yeah.
At least the first part was definitely like a.
Yeah, I think everyone sleeps
Like,
on Seven
perfect.
Part 1. I thought that was, like, I think that's one of my favorite movies of the series.
Yeah, everyone thought like the first half of the book was boring because they were just kind of like traveling around.
Yeah.
But it was like they were just traveling around finding Horcruxes and like breaking into a bank.
Right, exactly. And everyone's like, the movie was boring. I was like, well, they were camping in the book, so they're going to camp in the movie. I don't know what you
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah. I think the worst one, in my opinion, is 3. And a lot of people think that's the best one.
I don't understand it. I think people just like the style of it, but it was so jarring from like the first 2, and then they like kind of changed the style again for the fourth one. So I feel like 3 was just kind of like, I don't know, it was like an outlier almost.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was the thing. It was the first movie where they changed the style, but then they changed it again for the fourth one. Because it was a really weirdly shot movie.
It was.
Like, if you really look back at it and, like, watch the ones before and after.
They made it like quirky, like too quirky
Yeah.
almost. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it felt Tim Burton-ish,
But it did.
but it kind of. Like, it was
Yeah.
close.
Right.
Now, like, Andrew, because you hadn't watched them till, like, now, and we grew up with them. So, like,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts of, like, the hype around them versus what you really experienced when you watched them being 22?
I mean, I thought they were decent, right?
Mhm.
And some of them lived up to the hype I'd heard. Other ones I didn't really understand. But you know, when I'm watching it with a bunch of like people who've watched them, you know, like I've watched Lord of the Rings, like I
Yeah.
watched that hundreds of times probably,
Yeah.
not really, you know, a lot. And people see a character when they're watching Harry Potter, they freak out. I'm like, I don't know who this person is.
Oh,
And so
right,
like
yeah.
they don't have any hype in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
they've got to live up to this hype these other people gave them now. And sometimes it didn't. Sometimes I was like, oh, that was okay. You know, the character development or like things that happened in the films. But overall, I thought that it was entertaining, and I kind of liked the story. I thought Harry Potter should have stayed dead, personally. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I came away with.
Spoilers,
Really.
by the way, if you haven't read it for 10 years. But
It's like 20 now.
yeah, right? Oh, my God.
Why do you think he should have stayed dead? I've never heard someone say that.
Maybe it's just because I wasn't really paying that much attention to because I watched all of them over the span of like a month, but I was also in college and like really busy and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I sit down and watch it every now and then, but I thought it would have made it more compelling, I guess. 'Cause I don't really remember what happens. I just remember that he came back. I'm like, why did he come back? I thought that was like so cool that he died,
Yeah, right.
and that's
Yeah.
just what I thought.
Yeah, and that's kind of an instance of where the movie didn't fill in the holes that like it could have with what the book explained about
Yeah,
that.
'cause,
Because
like,
like
they
the
had
ending
that-
of Seven
yeah.
was a little rough. Like
Right.
the whole thing where he just broke the Elder Wand and threw it instead of fixing his own wand. I mean,
So
that was
dumb.
just like there was no reason to leave that out. Like it would added a minute to the movie,
Yeah, exactly.
and it would have just been like,
I think they could have done that conversation with Dumbledore a lot better too, because in the books it was like a whole chapter. That thing should have been like 20 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
In the movie it was like what, 2 or 3.
yeah, and like that was
Yeah.
his reconciliation with Dumbledore because he had read all this horrible stuff about Dumbledore.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
he had thought he was a great guy, and then thought he was the worst, and
Right.
then like that was his reconciliation, and they barely had any of it.
I
in the
feel
film.
like they knew they were going to make the Fantastic Beasts movies back then, and
Yeah.
or they knew they were going to do something with like Dumbledore's backstory. So that's why they like touched on it a really tiny bit, but then they're going to expand it in these new ones.
Yeah, yeah. My favorite book now, it used to not be, but 6 is my favorite book now, and I think
Yeah.
it's because of all the Voldemort memories.
Yeah, those are. I would love if they made a series about Voldemort like that, because they didn't touch on a lot of the memories in the movies.
Yeah,
So just seeing him like being a student, like start it from like where they started in the movie, or I'm
Yeah.
sorry, in the book, you know, where like Dumbledore goes to see him and he's already like doing weird stuff, and
Yeah,
then he like goes
yeah.
to Hogwarts and like becomes, you know, evil or.
I
blows out
honestly think
evil,
we're
yeah.
gonna see that in Fantastic Beasts because
be
I don't
great.
see any other reason to bring Nagini into the story.
That's true.
Spoilers for the new one.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna bring Voldemort into Fantastic Beasts,
Right. Right.
because he starts school like around the time, like he graduates from Hogwarts the year that Grindelwald and Dumbledore have their big duel.
Oh, like the final one.
So that'll be like
Yeah.
the final movie. So
Okay.
he'll be probably at least in the last 2.
Yeah, I could see him being in the last one. Like they'll probably just show where all those characters are before the Harry Potter series starts.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they'll probably show Nagini like showing like going up to Voldemort or something
Yeah.
like that. But
But I just missed those memories in the 6th movie. Like
Yeah, I
they
did
had a few, but like they didn't really have the House of Gaunt,
that would have been cool to see.
and that would have been cool to see, like his mom and dad meeting and everything.
Yeah, the one I really wanted to see was when he goes to Dumbledore to apply for the Defense Against the Dark
Yeah,
Arts
and already
position.
looks weird.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
was like supposed to be really handsome, like how he looked in the second movie, like as the memory. But then this, like things are like a kind of off the way she described it. His face is all like blotchy and like he doesn't have like the snake nose yet, but he's got like the red eyes and everything. So I just want to see like what that in between stage looks like, because I think at that point he's made like 2 or 3 Horcruxes.
Yeah,
But-
that would be super interesting.
Yeah,
Anyway, let's move on from Harry Potter because there's more we can talk about.
talk about Lord of the Rings.
Let's talk about Lord of the Rings next.
Yeah.
Let's let Andrew talk about this because I feel like you're the most Lord of the Rings versed person.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the movie adaptation? From the
Probably.
books?
That's not really saying a whole lot. I mean, look at people like Colbert, and I'm like, I know nothing.
Well, yeah, but like
But
of this
he's
group of
going-
3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, I read the books when I was in elementary school, like 5th, 6th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I read everything. I read the appendices in the Return of the King, and then I
Wow.
read The Children of Hurin, which was like a book that his son kind of finished.
I heard that that book is really depressing.
It is.
Okay.
It reads more like a tragedy.
Okay.
I honestly had like I just read that one or I listened to the audiobook and I was so confused just because of all the names. And I love Tolkien, but it was so confusing. I had to like find a spark notes of it
Oh,
and like
really?
follow, like every time I listened like before I listened to a chapter I would read the summary of the chapter, then listen to the chapter, and then after I was done I would read the summary again. And I was like, "Oh, I got it. I figured out what's going on."
That's how I first read Lord of the Rings, but like I would watch parts of the movie with it, where like some dude, I was just lucky, I guess, where like when I was reading Lord of the Rings for the first time, some dude had uploaded the extended editions on YouTube, but he had done it by chapter of the book. so I could like read the chapter and then like watch a little bit of the movie. And,
That's
like, it would
really
make sense.
cool.
It was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'll ever be able to do it again.
Yeah, I'd say those movies were successfully, or they successfully adapted the movie, or the book to a movie, whatever you would call it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was good.
What
Very
was?
good.
Is there anything else that like you felt was left out that shouldn't have been?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the extended versions of like the Return of the King very many times. So I didn't have it growing up, for instance. But like,
And who has 4 hours to watch it now anyway?
I know, but yeah, right. But the whole like Faramir Eowyn romance, kind of the end of that book.
It's pretty glossed over.
Yeah, I think that there were some cool things going on there in the book that they could have fleshed out more in the film, and especially in the theatrical version doesn't really get fleshed out at all because Eowyn does like this really cool thing and triumphs over the Witch King because she's a woman.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like she goes, oh, then Faramir, and then like you don't want to talk about her again.
Right.
They
Yeah.
kind of just like get together and that's it.
Yeah.
But they pay more attention to her in the book after that part, I think.
Yeah.
But then there's like weeks that go by that they kind of gloss over in that like 10 minutes.
Right. That makes
part
sense.
where I forget, it's Mary Pippin who gets stabbed. Or stabs the Witch King.
I think
That's,
it's
It was Mary.
I always get them mixed up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Mary.
Yeah, like
Pippin was like dealing with Denethor. And,
Yeah, he was up
yeah.
there watching Denethor eat his cherry tomatoes.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but he spends like weeks healing after that, and Frodo and Sam are in Mordor for weeks after that. And that whole
Yeah.
part of the book was
Just like kind of the aftermath of it.
it was super interesting because it wasn't in the movie, and that's the only part I think could have been fleshed out more. Other than that, like
Right.
leaving out Tom Bombadil and leaving out like taking back the Shire when they get back there after all said and done, and Saruman's kind of taking it over.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think they had to leave that out. And
I was okay with them
yeah.
leaving out the Scourging of the Shire just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it seemed really like tacked on to me, And Saruman dies the same way in the extended edition. He just Grima just stabs him. But like if they got back and they still had to deal with the Shire after like the whole big thing was done, it felt just like kind of like an
Yeah, there's no it's weird to have that like added conflict after everything else is solved.
Yeah.
But I don't remember that from the book. Is Tom Bombadil in any of the books except Fellowship?
I don't think so.
I don't recall him being in any of the other books.
Okay, because like he's a cool character and he's like an interesting character, but he's not like it's not a big issue to leave him out of the movies. It would have just been cool to see him.
I think he would have raised more questions than like anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody was like, well, who is this guy?
Who was this dude?
No kidding.
Yeah.
I had questions. Fifth grader reading that book. I was
It's like, what's this guy doing?
yeah, I need to read those again.
Yeah, I think The Fellowship though is like probably one of the most perfect adaptations I've seen.
Oh yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably one of my favorite movies.
Very,
It's
very
so
good.
One night, Andrew and I were sitting on the couch,
Still
and
hurts.
we hadn't watched Lord of the Rings for a while, so we grabbed out Ratish's copy of the extended edition of Fellowship,
And I wasn't there.
and Ratish wasn't there, and we're like 45 minutes in, and Ratish walks into the apartment, looks at the TV, sees what we're watching, and just had like the most betrayed expression on his face I've ever
I
seen.
was so upset. It's
did.
like using my DVD. We were gonna watch this
Wasn't it
together.
Blu-ray?
Yeah, it was my Blu-ray. We were gonna watch this together. I come in, they're just like on the second disc already. I'm just like, all right, great, this is cool, guys. I'm gonna break my lease now. It's over.
He was so betrayed we never finished the trilogy.
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah, I think we just watched the first one.
Yeah, we watched like part of the second one, and then we just kind of stopped.
Yeah,
We've done that for a lot of movies.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
the Hobbit adaptions. I don't even know if I want to talk about that because The Hobbit is my favorite book. Like of all four, The Hobbit is my favorite. And the first movie wasn't too bad.
Right.
They just didn't need 3 movies.
No,
it
they
could have
really
been fine
didn't.
with 2.
It could have been fine with like 1 3-hour movie, to be honest. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, they did not need 3 movies. Did not need like that Alfred guy. I thought that was really lame.
Alfred.
Was he the advisor or servant to the?
The governor of Lake Town.
No, yeah, the guy, the assistant to like Stephen Fry's character.
Oh, so like the really poorly executed comedy relief.
Yes.
In the second and third.
The-
yeah.
Their version of Jar Jar.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Jar Jar of the Lord of the Rings universe.
Yeah.
He had like that big unibrow. It was,
Oh
it was
yeah,
gross.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I hated all the Legolas moments in Battle of Five Armies. It was really like just seeing him like run up those bricks or whatever.
Oh
It's
yeah.
so dumb.
Well, they were just trying to like. That was, I think, my whole issue with the Hobbit trilogy, was that first of all it was the Hobbit trilogy,
Yep.
and second of all they literally just were trying to make Lord of the Rings again, which the Hobbit wasn't. It was a children's book, and like
Yeah, the tone's totally different.
Yeah.
the tone was not
It wasn't
orcs and
right.
fighting and like
End of the world.
yeah.
It was an adventure that happened to have like an like
Fate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like the most violent part of it should have been, besides the dragon attack, should have been in the mines when they're trapped by
With
the
the goblins. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like then, and yeah, maybe the Battle of Five Armies. But they made the Battle of Five Armies, which is a chapter of the book, right?
Bilbo
Yeah.
went conscious
movie.
for most of it.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, no,
whole
Bilbo
movie.
gets knocked out and then like he wakes up and it's like, oh yeah, all this stuff happened. He's like, okay, cool, I'm going back. And then that was it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's this series of video essays called The Hobbit, A Long Expected Autopsy on YouTube.
Ooh.
Those are pretty good. I recommend watching them. But there's this whole thing that went on with like, I want to say like union laws or something in New Zealand, and then like Warner Bros. Execs met with like legislators in New
What?
Zealand, and they got like some things changed to make it.
Yeah, they changed laws to
Yeah.
help make the movies.
Yeah,
To make
it's
the Hobbit movies?
crazy.
To make
Yeah.
the Hobbit, wow, and this is what we got.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because the video essays, there's two of them. There were two parts, and then there was a third part they got tacked on like they did with the Hobbits.
Oh wow.
I was like part 1 of 2, part 2 of 2, and that was a part 3. Look at that.
It's like poetry.
Yeah,
It rhymes.
It really opened your eyes to what the decisions that went on, because they had Del Toro was supposed to direct him, and like he was
Yes.
actually really sad that he didn't get to. It would have been perfect.
What happened with Del Toro? Do you know? when
I
he
don't
dropped
really
out?
remember all the details, but like he kind of got like shoved out.
I think the
basically.
studio basically just wanted Peter Jackson back.
Oh yeah, and it seemed like Peter Jackson didn't want to do it, but they brought him back anyway, and you know he didn't have enough time to like make all the stuff because like he said for Lord of the Rings he had like a year or two of like pre-production, you know, when they were like designing all the sets, designing all the costumes, and all the designs of everything. But with this, they're just like, okay, just find what we can do and just put it on screen.
But like that wasn't even the issue. It looked
Yeah.
great.
yeah, right.
You know, like just don't ruin the story. Just follow
right.
the book.
Yeah, I think that's like
Yeah.
with the script and everything was bad. It was just
And that whole 50 frames a second fiasco.
I forgot
is
about that. That was, like, such a big deal.
Or when you have like CGI, it costs more money to do more frames. So I
Yeah.
don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's a
right.
no-brainer to me.
right.
Yeah.
It made it like I don't know if it was just me, but did you guys see like a weird like haze over like the last two?
I mean, I noticed that Peter Jackson's look kind of changed. Like, you know, the elves were always kind of like, I don't know, like, what's the word, glamorous? Or like,
Yeah.
they had like this aura, this glow
Yeah.
around them. But
Right.
like the whole film seemed to have that. Like stylistically, I thought that was interesting. I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I
that is
noticed
what I'm
that.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy that. I thought it was fine when it was just the elves because it makes sense, but like when it's like Thorin fighting like Azog or whatever, it didn't.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why is this here? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But yeah, no, I think I saw like the first one a couple times. The second one, I saw it in theaters and I fell asleep through like part of it, and I watched it again. And I wasn't a fan. And I've seen the third one once, and that was it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much the same here. I saw
Yeah.
the first one twice, saw the second one once, saw the third one in theaters twice, and because the second time it was like a family thing, so I like went along because I'd already seen it, but I went and I fell asleep for part of it.
Yeah, there you go.
I've only seen the second one once, and I've seen the other two, I think, 3 times. But I don't own the second one, so that's
I do.
probably why.
It's right over
Do
there.
you?
Yeah. it's right
Oh,
over there.
I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember was like that whole thing where they were like pouring the molten gold.
That was weird.
Like that. That's what I remember from that
no,
movie.
yeah.
And then I remember
Yeah.
Bilbo at the end. He pops up from behind the rock and sees the dragon like destroying Lake Town, and I thought the movie was just going to end with him going, "Oh,
Credits roll. It's like a
credits
freeze
just
frame.
roll."
It's basically how it ends, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Play the Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh man. Okay, so what else is on this list here?
Can we talk about Aragon just really quick?
You two can. I mean,
Dude,
yeah.
I loved those books growing up. I actually have not finished the last one. I got halfway through it sometime in junior high, and
Is
I
the
never
last one
finished
called
it.
Inheritance?
Inheritance,
It
yeah.
is.
So I don't even know what happens.
And it was one of the better ones, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Eldest was a horrible book.
Really?
like- I have to reread it, and it's been a few years since I read them. Aragon was a good book. It was like
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars meets
But-
Lord of the Rings, which everyone says like when they talk about it, because it was like the Jedi and Darth Vader betraying them and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, it was still a good story, and every story steals stuff, so I don't care. Eldest though, like the whole book, the most interesting part of the book was like where his brother is like destroying people with his hammer because they're going after like the things that destroyed their village. But Aragon's just like sitting in the forest of the elves trying to get this girl to hook up with him the whole time. And like that's his whole like arc through that book is him learning from the elves and trying to get this girl to like sleep with him. And the third one was good, and the fourth one was good, but the second one was just like too long.
How many are there total? 4?
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember everyone reading those in like school, and I was just kind of like, I could start this, but it seems very, very daunting, and I just didn't.
Yeah, yeah. What's really interesting is that he like wrote the first one when he was 15.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was 15 when he wrote the first one, and his parents were like publishers, so that's
Mm-hmm.
how he got it published, basically. And then, but he was homeschooled, by the way. Shout out to my homeschooled peeps. But yeah, I really like enjoyed those books, and I'd love to see like a good film adaptation because the film adaptation just wasn't anything at all. Like
Really?
it was just like it just didn't feel like the book at all.
Okay.
Like you watch it and you're like, okay, this is like the same story, but it doesn't feel like the book at all.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jeremy Irons was great in it.
I love that guy. He's so good in
Yeah.
everything.
Oh yeah, he was fun. But this movie, the movie, the Aragon movie, all I remember about it is they messed it up so bad that they couldn't even do a sequel. Like they ruined they got
They,
the
like,
story
ended the
so
sto-
wrong
They
Yeah,
ended the story.
that
That's
they
right.
couldn't
That's
keep
right.
going.
They
Like I was
literally-
like, fifth grade, me was like, how are they gonna keep doing this?
Yeah.
'Cause it's not even how the second book starts.
That's right. I remember that. That's right. They
Yeah.
botched the story so badly.
Yeah.
They could never have picked it up again.
No, it
That's
was
so
impossible. The same way that the books are going, they couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll be a Netflix series? Because they're doing that a lot now.
I think any fantasy book now needs to be a series.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like you get a 600-page book, you can't make a 2-hour movie out of
No
that.
way.
And no one's going to make a 2-part movie for the first book of like a series.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to risk that if the first one doesn't do well.
Right.
Yeah.
So like the only way to go now is like TV shows on HBO or Netflix.
I don't think they ever will, but if they could make Harry Potter as like a Netflix series or an HBO series, that'd be so like that'd be the dream.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, I'm
Yeah.
very curious when they'll remake Harry Potter because
don't
I
think
think
they
it'll
will.
be in our lifetime.
You
but
think
like,
so?
I mean, we got hopefully. I hope I don't die that soon. But like, I mean, in 50 years,
I don't know. It seems like the new thing is just like rebooting everything. You
Yeah.
know, because like with Lord of the Rings, I hope they never touch Lord of the Rings. To be completely honest, because they
Yeah.
were perfect.
yeah,
And right now they're making that prequel thing, right? With,
yeah. Amazon has
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
rights to something.
Yeah. So I'm wondering like what that's gonna be, but it seems like they're just gonna add to it, but they won't like ever remake it,
It's gonna be young Gandalf with a laugh track.
dude.
He's gonna be a boy genius.
No. I would watch that.
Oh my gosh.
So another adaptation. Let's see what we got here. Whoa, Shrek was a book before?
Was it?
That's what this says.
Shrek 5.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Andrew's got to step out for a second. All right.
Yeah,
Oh.
we were talking about Shrek.
Yeah, Shrek.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for Shrek 5. I heard they're gonna reboot it though, so
Is it so it's a reboot, not a sequel?
I don't know. I've only seen like memes about it, so
Regardless, it'll be great.
yeah. I hope they reference Shrek is love, Shrek is life. I don't think they would, but
I think it would get an R rating.
I hope it does. That's their demographic.
Donkey.
Seeing Mike Myers in Bohemian Rhapsody, that was crazy.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't look like himself at all.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. It's like seeing Tom Cruise in what's the movie? Tropic Thunder. Have you seen that?
I've only seen like the beginning of it. I
Like
haven't seen
Tom
the whole
Cruise
thing.
is kind of like the villain almost. He's like the TV executive or something.
Yeah.
I forget. But I had no idea it was Tom Cruise. He's like
What?
bald and like
Whoa.
Yeah, it was
that's
super weird.
crazy. I need to watch Tropic Thunder. It looks good.
it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing though, so I was telling you about that movie, The Three Amigos,
Yeah.
that like Michael and I have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie. It's a Steve Martin, Chevy Chase movie. and it's literally Tropic Thunder. But like Tropic Thunder basically remade it. It's like about like these three actors
What?
who like get called into this place and think that it's like an acting gig, but it turns out to be real.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
But anyway,
Yeah.
book to movie adaptations. Did you ever read like the Percy Jackson books?
No, I didn't. I never watched the movies either.
They were really interesting because I've always liked like Greek mythology.
Yeah.
And some people who like Greek mythology hate those books because they feel like it like just twisted it and made it weird. I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's a kid's book.
yeah,
right? So
exactly.
it's
I thought it was
whatever.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
I want to reread them. It's been a while, but
Mhm.
the movie, it was kind of the same thing as Aragon. They just didn't do it well, and I think it was the same thing as Aragon, where that they ended it, the first movie, so that they made it basically impossible for them to continue the story in the same way
Oh.
the books went.
I don't know why they would do that. It's awful.
And
It's
then
an
they made
awful
like
idea.
the second book still, but I never saw it.
Okay.
Like I never heard anything about it.
Right. Something I really want to read, and well, I read the first four, was a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah, I've never read those.
Yeah, I read the first four when I was a kid, and like based on what I remember, the series on Netflix was really, really good.
I think Neil Patrick Harris is like a big fan of it.
Okay.
So I think like he's not in charge of it, but I think he was the one who kind of had the idea to start it, if
Yeah.
I remember right.
He must have had like some creative say in
Yeah.
like, some of it.
Yeah.
That always helps when you have someone like that on board. It's not just like, oh, let's make it out of this. Like someone has to have like a real passion for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the movie never really works.
Well, and that's why the Harry Potter movies were so good, because I believe J.K. Rowling was like majorly involved in the making of the movies.
That's good.
And the same thing with the Hunger Games.
Oh yeah.
Because did you ever read those?
No,
I
I watched
re-
the first two. And
Okay.
That was it.
I really liked the Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
And Catching Fire was the second book, and it was really good, but it was very similar to the first one.
Yeah.
And then I didn't like the third one because it was just super depressing.
I heard the third one no one really liked.
It was just really depressing. Like everyone ended up just sad
Oh,
or dead
it's a bummer.
or sad and dead.
Nice.
But like the author was like very much, I'm not like, wouldn't sell the rights unless she found a director who was like, I will stay like perfectly true to the
good.
books. So
So it
like
should be.
the Hunger Games, the first movie was a shot for shot remake of the book. Like
Really?
literally.
Okay,
Yeah, it was
that's
crazy.
sweet.
And so was the second one, I'm pretty sure.
I really liked the second movie. I thought it was
Yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those were like really good book adaptations. I just don't like the third book. So like that was my only issue with the series, is I don't
Right.
like the third book.
That makes sense.
But I love the first two.
Yeah. Speaking of things that like, well, adaptions that didn't follow the book or did, I think the only one I've noticed that like was successful without following the book was Jurassic Park. Because I read the book.
That's
for,
right,
Yeah, because I
yeah.
read the book for Jurassic Park, and it's all like, it's completely different. Like John Hammond, you know, in the movie is like this wise old like dude, and like
Yeah,
he's like
yeah.
super benign. He has like grandkids and stuff. In the book, if I remember, he's not that. He's like an evil businessman, basically. And-
Really?
yeah, he's like a jerk, and he's like clearly just there for the money.
I want to read that.
Yeah, I do too. It's been a while.
That's really interesting. And now there's like 6 movies.
Yeah. I feel like they just shouldn't call it Jurassic World anymore because people are going to. Well, I guess Jurassic World is good. They shouldn't like market it with Jurassic Park because like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
its own thing now, you know? And people are assuming that it's going to be like the first Jurassic Park, which it won't. So like people should just stop.
Yeah, I'm really curious what they'll do with the third Jurassic World, because it's like they took a, I mean, regardless of what you think of the second one, they took a pretty bold route, like releasing all the dinosaurs into the world.
Yeah.
And like
Realistically, this wouldn't be a problem because
there weren't that many.
no, there was like one of each.
Yeah. Like the only issue is the Mosasaurus like swimming in the ocean now.
Just wait for it to die.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, but like all the stuff that escaped from like that mansion,
Yeah.
there weren't that many. Just
No.
shoot them. And that's my, okay, I know it's not realistic, but like my only issue is that like I don't care how big of a dinosaur you are. Like if you get shot like a bunch of times,
You should be dead.
you should be dead. Like,
Yeah.
or at least, I don't know.
I think their like in-universe explanation is that they're not real dinosaurs. They're like
They're
genetically modified, so
okay.
they can just use that and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is why it does this."
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
I don't get. Well, I do get it. Like they're trying to be like, oh, businessmen will do anything for money, which is true.
mm-hmm.
But like, after your first genetically modified dinosaur like didn't work out, why did you do another one that you knew was like worse than the first one? You
Yeah,
made?
right. It was just
And where'd the gold come from on it?
yeah. Well, no, but my whole thing is just like So you have to like point a laser and on a gun, and he'll go and attack it.
Yeah.
Just
Why don't
use
you
the
just
gun.
shoot it?
Just use the gun. It'll do the same thing. You don't have like this giant like variable dinosaur thing that's
Yeah.
gonna go and kill people.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, back to adaptations. I don't know about as far as books. I can't think of anything else that's like major. We could talk about like comic books and stuff too.
Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, Game of Thrones. I think they were pretty accurate for the most part.
They were accurate till the books ran out.
Yeah,
like,
basically.
Basically.
Well, I don't think they were accurate to Stannis' character.
They weren't accurate to Stannis.
I hated what they did with Stannis. Actually, I thought it was bad, but everything else was.
Yeah, they
Good.
kind of.
The
They
writers
made
didn't
him
like him.
Didn't they make him seem like more of a jerk than he was like in the books?
They made him like the pawn of like Melisandre essentially in the show. So when I was watching, I was like, why do people like this guy? And then I read the books. And I was like, oh, okay. So he's like actually, he doesn't want the throne. He's doing it because he knows he needs to.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think we'll see how the new season goes.
I think my only issue with like the stuff before the books ran out is that I don't think they did enough justice to Tyrion's backstory in the show.
Oh,
like
sure.
they got close, but like it was so much better, like in the books.
Yeah.
Andrew's back.
I am back, but I'm not wearing black. I'm wearing a white T-shirt.
What? Oh, that was
Back in black.
okay.
Okay, got it.
I heard that song today too. Wow. I
Did
don't know
you?
why I didn't get
Nice.
that. Yeah, it was at the bar.
Good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen Game of Thrones anyway, though. So
Yeah, yeah.
We need to do a rewatch for
But,
April.
yeah.
You have all of them, right?
Did you see like the teaser trailer that they put out? It didn't really have anything. It was literally just like the banners of the houses.
Yeah,
and, like,
I
things burning
like
and
skimmed through
freezing.
it. I was like because I knew it wasn't gonna be anything good.
Yeah.
I felt like it was just gonna be that. And I was like, okay, great.
I feel like the trailer will come out like soon.
Yeah,
though,
it
like
has
an
to.
actual trailer.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else? What other books are there? I'm trying to think. There's more. I
There
know
are,
there's
but
more.
I'm just thinking of stuff that we know about. I mean, we talked about Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. So that's like a big three. I think we can move on to comic books, honestly.
Oh, that's right. The
Yeah.
whole Marvel stuff.
Yeah, and DC. Yeah.
What is that? Abomination.
Director's cut. That's what that is. So, we could talk about.
this movie would be good if we recut the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So for Marvel, we could talk about. I don't know if you guys have read any comics.
Yeah, which comics have you read? Because I have actually not read any comics.
Okay, I've read a lot, and what's funny is like I actually haven't even read that much. I've just read the Wikipedia pages for the characters, and that's essentially what you need to do to like be a fan nowadays. But so I have a bunch in my room. So like thinking of the Marvel movies, I've got Civil War, which I was really surprised they made because that was like one of the first comics I got that I was into and I got that like when the first Iron Man came out, maybe the second one. But so seeing that made into like a movie was really cool.
Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
That's cool. I need to read that one. I haven't read it yet.
It's completely different in the books.
Because there's a bunch of characters like in the comic.
Yeah, there are.
Because it's much more. There's more like the galactic characters, aren't there?
Yeah, there's more. It's more just like a big universe thing. Like the one thing I think the Marvel universe is like great and it's doing great. But the one thing I think it could have done better is like I think it's kind of going too fast almost.
Yeah.
Where in the sense that like you have one Avengers movie where they got together, they weren't
Yeah.
really a team
Yeah.
until the end. You have the second Avengers movie where they're kind of a team, I guess. You know, and then you have you have Civil War where they break up. I felt like if you had one more phase in there to really solidify, like, holy crap, these guys are a team and they're like,
Yeah.
you know, they like each other. Then I feel like Civil War would have had like.
I think that
more
was
of
the
an
big
impact.
thing in Age of Ultron, though, like
Yeah.
bringing them to Hawkeye's house.
Oh right.
Because that was kind of the scene I felt like that brought them all together.
Yeah,
and you're
sure.
like, oh, all these people are cool, and
Right. Yeah. They all
Hawkeye's
like each
cool
other
now.
Yeah. Hawkeye's cool
And-
now. He has character.
yeah. I think that helped, but I agree
Mm-hmm.
that like. But if you think about it, it's been 10 years. Like it
Yeah.
kind of felt like it went fast. Because
Thinking about it now, it went-
4 movies maybe that they're all
Yeah.
like in together.
I
But-
think if they just had like more team ups, because it seemed like they were almost avoiding like even mentioning them. You know, they would have like small snippets here and there in the solo movies.
Yeah.
But I felt like once you have a team up, you should be having more movies like Thor Ragnarok, where like the other characters show up and they're a big part in it.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that was the thing though, is like phase 1 and 2 were like setting up individual
characters.
movies of these characters, but
Yeah.
then phase 3 was like setting up the new characters that are going to be after these ones are gone.
Right, exactly.
So like they didn't have the time, like you said, to like
yeah,
do more team ups in there.
yeah. But I mean, regardless, it's doing really well. So.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, I never read Infinity Gauntlet. I read Civil War, and Civil War was really different in the books because, like, well, it was in the movie. I think it was like maybe like 6 people on each side.
Yeah.
In the comic book, it was almost like 50 on each side. It was crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was like a proper war, and like
What
Yeah.
what brought it about? Was it
it was
the
a registration.
Sokovia?
No, there was no Sokovia. What happened was there was like this TV show that they had about these random heroes
Yeah.
that would go and like fight crime, basically. But they were clearly just trying to chase ratings, and they weren't doing a good job. So they went and attacked a villain that was like way too powerful for them, and they nuked like 6 city blocks. And after that, they're like, "Yeah, we need to put these guys in
Whoa.
check."
Wait, so the villain nuked city blocks, so they decided to put the heroes in check?
Yeah, because the heroes went after a villain that they weren't supposed to, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah, which
I-
whatever.
I don't really get that.
Yeah.
I like that's like I love that whole montage at the start of the first Incredibles movie, where like they're going through all the court battles and stuff. My client did not want to be safe.
You didn't save my life. You ruined my death.
I ju-
It's basically that.
Yeah.
That's Civil War.
yeah.
But yeah, and then like it's interesting because I think Iron Man's more sympathetic in the movie, but in the comic he's like a jerk. He's
Yeah.
awful in the movie. I mean, in the
Do they
comic.
bring up like Cap knowing about his parents' death?
No,
in the
that was
comic?
completely in the book. That was
That's like a
completely in the
real.
movie.
I mean, like
Yeah.
that was a really cool thing in the movie. I felt
Yeah.
like.
That's the
like-
one reason where I'm just like, oh, Cap, you let me down.
Yeah. Well, that was the nice thing is that like they both were wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Also,
like-
still Team Cap all the way. I don't care what you say.
Yeah. Cap was right.
Yep. Cap did nothing wrong.
Thank you, Cap. Very cool.
I need to watch Civil War again. This is coming back to me now.
Oh yeah. Have you only seen it once?
I've only seen it once. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I think Winter Soldier was my favorite of like that.
Yeah, that one was really
Yeah,
good.
that one was really good.
It was all made by the same director. Winter Soldier directors, I guess. Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity War. It was all made by the same dudes.
The Russo brothers.
Yeah.
Did you hear today they gave, because they've been kind of saying that they're kind of done with Marvel, but they said they would do another movie, which I'm like, of course they would,
Right.
because money.
Yeah.
But I think they said they want to do Secret Wars or something.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Because every time I try and Google it, it's like super confusing, so I just stop.
Isn't that about like the Skrulls invading and being like disguised as other people though?
I think so. I think so.
Which, I mean, maybe they're introducing that with like the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know. That'll be interesting though.
There's rumors that, not rumors, but there's a fan theory that people think Rhodey is a Skrull, but I don't really know how that would.
Nah.
I don't. It's something you read on Reddit, so you know it's
Yeah.
completely factual. But.
Yes. Oh, yes. Gone Girl's a book to movie adaptation.
Yeah, I want to read the book.
Have you not read the book?
No.
I haven't read the book either. Have you, Andrew?
Part of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Part of it. I feel like I had to read for a class once, but gosh, I don't remember.
That movie is crazy.
That is a first date movie.
Yes, it is. It is a complete first date movie. If you
Just
never want
like-
to have a date again.
I had no, to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was getting into when I watched that movie.
Oh yeah, I just like popped it on. I was like,
Yeah,
hey Thomas,
you just
is
popped
great.
it in, and like, I didn't really know what it was. I knew there was like some mystery to it, but I thought it was like a comedy, like a rom-com kind of thing. I
Nope.
thought that's what it was going to be, but I figured it out. It wasn't going to be very early on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, when she slashes Neil Patrick Harris's throat,
Yeah.
like, I was just like, what?
Yeah, that
That
was
whole thing. And then, yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah, and like the fact that Tyler Perry was like the funniest dude, and he was like acting really well in that movie was crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to say I want to watch that movie again because I have it, but at the same time, like I don't know if I do because like it's just intense. I don't know if you remember it all, if you remember any of it from reading the book, but
No, yeah, that's completely escaping me.
Yeah.
Actually.
yeah, I want to read the book because it's told from the perspective of Amy, who's like the crazy chick or whatever. So it'll be really interesting to see like why she does what she does from her like twisted
Yeah.
point of view.
Did you guys ever see that new movie? It had Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively, and it was called A Simple Favor. It came out
No.
this year, and it was almost like they were trying to do a Gone Girl thing, but they tried too hard.
Oh, were there just too many twists?
Yeah, it was like it
it's
ended
annoying.
up being way too many twists, and like it was a really interesting premise, but it was weird.
Yeah.
Like this woman becomes like Anna Kendrick's friend, and then like because Anna Kendrick doesn't really have any friends, because like their kid goes to the same school, and Anna Kendrick starts like babysitting her kid for her and stuff, and then this girl like disappears, and Anna Kendrick helps like her husband and the kid out, and then like she and the husband start like hooking up
What?
while this lady's like disappeared,
Oh no.
and like there was just too many twists.
Was it supposed to be like a comedy or was it more serious?
It was. I thought it was supposed to be a comedy, and then it
Because
turned
it's got
out.
Anna Kendrick, so you would think.
Yeah, and
But-
then it turned out to be more serious. It was kind of. It was. I just kind of felt like they were going for another Gone Girl thing. And it just
Right.
was too much.
The author that did Gone Girl wrote another thing called The Sharp Objects, and that's a HBO like miniseries with Amy Adams in it. Apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I want to watch that because like, if it's as good as Gone Girl, I'd love to see it. But it was very unsettling. Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. Back to comics, I guess. So DC is a film studio that
They make, I think some of the highest rated films.
yeah, and Rotten Tomatoes, you get like 100% on
Yeah,
things like Suicide Squad.
That's one of my favorite
Modern classic.
movies.
It won an Oscar. It did win an Oscar.
I can't believe it won
Yeah.
an Oscar.
Like,
That's
how
just
many
crazy.
Oscars?
Was that for costumes or
I
whatever?
think it was like
Yeah.
costume and makeup or something.
Yep. So that damage
Okay.
tattoo
Okay.
won an Oscar. Take that, Marvel.
Wow.
So damaged. Do you know that? Like, I watched that movie and I was like, I just can't really tell how crazy the Joker is. And then I saw the tattoo and I was like, oh, he's so damaged.
yeah, right. That makes sense because I couldn't even think like, oh, the guy called the Joker that laughs a lot. He can't be crazy. Like he has ha 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 written on his chest, but that doesn't make sense. But the damage tattoo that gave it away. That's
Oh,
yeah.
I saw those photos on Reddit of the Joker's character.
Yeah.
Chills. As soon
Oh,
as I
man.
saw that tattoo.
Did you see that the guy, I think it might have been like the guy who did like the costume and makeup or something for that movie or like the character design.
Yeah.
He was tweeting about it and someone asked him about that tattoo and he's like, yeah, we might have gone a little too far.
They've gone too far in a few places.
Oh my god.
Jar Jar's the key to all this.
The damage tattoo is the key to all this. I think they should have written "We live in a society" on his chest, and then bottom text.
I think
like,
they're
on his
going to do that
abs.
with the Joaquin Phoenix one.
I think he's gonna say "Gamers Rise Up" when he comes on screen for the first time.
Arte.
What's that?
Arte.
Arte.
Filme.
Filme, yeah. Kino, pure Kino.
That's what Batman versus Superman. The theatrical cut was Filme.
It was the worst edited piece of movie I have ever seen. The Ultimate Edition, I'll still maintain that I really, really liked it, but the theatrical edition was probably one of the worst things I've ever seen, and it made it even worse because they had 2 years of post production. So like, I don't know how it got that bad, but it was just oh man,
Dan Snyder.
Dan Snyder. Yeah, I don't know any more adaptations that we could dive into. Oh yeah,
Because you've read the book, right?
I've read like the first half of the book.
That's a long book, isn't it?
It is. I keep like, I'll come back to it every few months, but the problem is like I'm listening to it on YouTube, so like the video gets taken down, so I have to find another one.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty accurate to the book for the most part. There were some scenes when they were kids that they removed, like just random like encounters with the clown, but I think the movie really captured the spirit of like how the kids like dealt with Pennywise and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the sequel with like the adults.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that. And like, I've said this before, but like, it to me wasn't that scary.
No, it wasn't.
Like, it felt very much like Stranger Things to me. And
Yeah.
that was probably just because it was like around all these kids fighting this monster.
Yeah, and one of the kids from Stranger
As
Things
one
was
of the
in it.
kids. Yeah, that's true.
I bet that helps a little bit.
yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see the second one. I just don't think I could read the book. It
It's
just seems
really.
too creepy to me.
You think so?
Well, just like knowing the other scenes that are in the book that they left out of the movie,
Oh yeah,
like the child orgy.
yeah. That cocaine's a It's a writer, part of
Cocaine's
the
a hell of a
book.
drug.
Yeah.
Didn't he say like cocaine wrote half that book?
Yeah,
for
he
him?
said cocaine's a co-writer of the book.
Nice.
Yeah.
I loved that Corey scene.
Yeah, that Corey scene was beautiful.
That was, yeah. Because I had no context. I never read the book or anything. I sat down
Right.
and watched this with you guys, and I just loved the heck out of that scene. It was like childhood, like summer nostalgia, innocence at its like peak.
Exactly.
Just these kids hanging out,
Doing kid
and
things.
doing kid things.
Yeah.
It was great.
That's why I like the movie so much, because it's more just like, it's, how do I even explain it? It's like, I know it sounds weird to say it, but it's like, it's really heartwarming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like at the
Yeah.
end, yeah, I mean, like if you haven't seen it, spoilers, I guess, but at the end, like when they finally like triumph over it, kind of, it's like a really nice scene when they finally like band together and like attack it. And I think that's like,
Yeah.
you don't really
Yeah.
get that in horror movies
No,
anymore, you know?
no.
The fact that they win and like become closer as a result of it, I think is really cool.
Yeah, that was my favorite part because
Yeah.
some horror films I watch them and I'm like, okay, I was scared for a little bit. And there's a lot of like gore, like slasher movies, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But
Yeah.
just like something else was going on other than just like people being scared
Right.
and
Yeah.
there being a monster.
That's
They're-
kind of how I feel
yeah.
about like the Conjuring movies because like
They have the love
they're
story.
super scary, but then they have the story of like Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah, exactly.
And like there's just like a heartwarming aspect to the movies at times, and like an actual story centered around like a couple or a family,
Right.
And it's not just a monster. Like the issue with Halloween,
Yeah.
like the first one is like, yeah, Michael Myers is creepy, but there's no relationship thing. You know,
No,
there's
it's
there's
just
no
some
relationship in the
estoppel,
movie.
yeah.
It's just him like hunting these people for no reason.
Yeah, and like some people find that scary, but like to me that's not very compelling. It's
This-
just like
It's it's a great scary movie, but it's
Yeah.
not a compelling story.
right, exactly.
The second one
Second one's so good.
that came out, well, not the second one, but the one that came out
Yeah,
this year as a
2018.
sequel, ignoring all the other sequels,
Right.
was great because it
Yeah.
did have a story. It was like centered around her being like,
Yeah, having like PTSD over the thing that
yeah,
happened.
which was cool.
Yeah, that was a really good horror movie. I felt like that was as good as it, honestly.
Yeah, that one was really good.
Yeah, and like I think with horror movies, the reason I like them is like not because they're scary, but if they have like a really good story like that, I think it's way more compelling.
Yeah.
It's like it has to be like a good story that has like horror elements around it.
Yeah,
Like I saw this AMA on Reddit once with this director that did Lights Out. I don't know if you guys ever saw that.
I never saw it, but I really
Never
wanted
saw
to.
it.
It was pretty cool. But so what he did was he's like, yeah, so the way I wrote it was I wrote it as like a family drama. And every time there was like any sort of tension within the family, anytime there was like a lot of like butting heads, he's like, I knew that's when like the demon or the ghost had to come in.
Yeah.
So he wrote it as a family drama first, and then he would like bring the ghost and everything in as like the main antagonist.
That's
which would
cool.
like, you know, like symbolize like their drama or whatever. And I feel like more horror movies need to do
That's
that.
what A Quiet Place was like too. Like
Yeah.
it was very centered around that family and like the dad protecting the family, and then there were like the monsters added in.
Right, exactly.
But like, yeah, that was a great movie. I wouldn't say like it wasn't that scary, but
No,
like,
it wasn't.
It was an awesome story.
Yeah, like the best horror movies aren't really like scary to me. They're more just like compelling. Like you care
Yeah,
about the characters.
it's more of a thriller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Speaking of scary, I'm never gonna watch Hereditary again. That was the scariest thing I've
I
ever
want to
seen.
see it now just because you've said it's the scariest thing you've ever seen. But you watch a lot more scary than me, so I feel like if you were freaked out by it, I'm gonna be super freaked out. by
I
it.
don't want to watch it in this house. Like it's just I never want to see that again.
That's how I feel about The Nun.
Oh really?
Yeah, that was.
I like
just-
The Nun. I thought it was.
It
fun.
was really, yeah, it was a good movie, but it was
Yeah.
super freaky for me.
We should watch The Exorcist sometime.
Is that like the 1980s one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that.
It's
That was the first film to have a Steadicam shot.
yeah. I
Really?
think I sent you that.
Y-
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you might have sent me that. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first one.
Yeah, that's a really good movie. It was, and I'm surprised it holds up the way it does, being from the 80s.
Yeah.
But I think it's because like a lot of the effects were just like practical, and Linda Blair, like the girl that plays like the little
Yeah.
the Exorcist. She not the Exorcist, like
The
the
Exorcism.
the demon girl.
XRC.
Exorcist. Leave in the comments below if you know it. You'll get a shout out in the next podcast. Yeah, so she got sick like multiple times like throughout the movie and everything. So that's why she looks like terrible. And obviously there's like a bunch of like
Yeah.
prosthetics going into it, but it adds to like the setting and like the whole situation of it. But
There was one I saw. It's not called The Exorcist. I forget what it's called. I think it's called The Rite.
oh
And
yeah.
I think it has Anthony Hopkins in it, and that was really good too. It was like about an exorcism, but he's like he's a priest who's going to do the exorcism, but he's bringing a exorcist priest in training with him.
That's what happens in
That's
The
a great
Exorcist.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, but this guy is starting to have like doubts about the faith, and he's like, "Is the devil real or whatever?" But then Anthony Hopkins gets possessed by the demon,
No.
and like the trainee has to like exorcise
Oh my
him.
gosh.
Which now that I say that,
Yeah.
so that sounds like a horror comedy, but it was actually really freaky.
That's kind of what happens in The Exorcist. There's like a similar situation to that. Because there's like a young priest and
I
an
wonder
old
if that
priest.
was supposed to be kind of a remake then.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was wow.
I still haven't seen Silence of the Lambs, but I really want to.
That one's pretty unsettling too. It's been a while
Yeah,
since I've seen it.
I haven't seen that one either.
The creepier parts is with Buffalo Bill, like the killer that they're trying to find. Hannibal Lecter, I didn't find that scary.
It
but
wasn't that creepy.
no, mainly just because I know it's Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
have you guys seen like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the
I think
13th
I
and stuff?
saw the remake.
I
of
haven't.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
I haven't yet.
Okay. Yeah, the Nightmare on Elm Street old one was really, really good. And I enjoyed the new one for what it was, but I can understand if people like didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it was like, it took out like a lot of the compelling stuff from the old ones, but it was really good.
Do you know what books need a movie adaptation? Magic
Um,
Treehouse.
Yo,
Those were pretty good.
That would
I
actually be
would
kind of a
watch
cool
that.
TV show, like
Yeah.
a Netflix show.
I would agree.
Because they honestly kind of had
would
like
be
a
really
running
good.
story through the
Yeah,
books with
they
like
do.
Morgana and
Yeah.
like
Yeah, they do.
What's his face?
Merlin, right? Or
I almost
no?
said Elvis for some reason, but it's definitely Merlin.
You know what needs to happen? An Elvis biopic. That's all I'm saying.
You've not stopped talking about this since you saw Bohemian Rhapsody.
Because it's overdue. It's been like so many years and there hasn't been one.
that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
You know, to bring it back to the Magic Tree House,
Yeah.
I watched. I think I read. I don't know how many there were, like dozens at least.
There's a lot of them.
I read most, if not all of them, in elementary school. But
Yeah.
I read a lot in elementary
Yeah,
school.
no, I
You
did
get
too.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I went to the librarian like probably like once every other day, if not every day, for about 2 weeks. When there was this new Magic Treehouse book that was supposed to come out, and I said, "Hey, do you have it yet?"
Oh
And he
man.
said, "No,
I remember
tomorrow."
doing that.
Do you have
Yeah.
it yet? And then I finally got it. They had it, but then I was on a waiting list. So then I had to
No.
come back and he said, "Is it over yet?" No. And I finally got to read it. It was amazing.
That's funny.
I'm so happy.
Do you remember which one it was?
It was the one with the sea serpents.
Oh,
remember that.
the Summer
Yeah,
of the Sea
Summer of the
Serpent.
Sea Serpent.
Yeah.
I remember being on a waiting list for that too. I
Yeah.
was like number 31. I was like, "Are you joking?"
Ah.
I got it like 6 months later.
I used to get them like in my stocking for Christmas, whatever like the newest one was.
Oh,
nice.
really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Santa would give them to me.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So like,
I remember. Okay, just I gotta talk
Yeah.
about that. I was 13, and like my dad or my parents had never like had to talk to me like Santa's not real or whatever.
Oh, that talk. Okay.
that. Whoops. Yes, the talk about Santa and the birds and the Santas.
the sleighs and the reindeer.
Okay.
But like, so I was like 13 and I said something about Santa not being real, like in the car with my dad, and he goes, "What did you say?" I go, "Santa's not real." He goes, "I was wondering when you were gonna figure that out." He's like, "We never talked to you about that, but I was thinking you're getting pretty dumb."
Yeah, my sister spoiled it for me. I was like a kid, and I was like, "I can't wait for Santa." She's like, he's not real, right?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah." One of my friends stayed up, and they saw their parents like put gifts down there, and I was like, "No, that doesn't make any sense." And I was like, my world was just like,
So my
Shaken.
brother figured out because he lost a tooth and like put it under his pillow for the tooth fairy, and my parents forgot to go grab it and give him money.
"Ooh."
And he woke up and found the tooth, and he went to my parents' room and he's like, "The tooth fairy isn't real, and neither is the Easter bunny, and neither is Santa." And my parents were like, "All right, John,
You got it.
You got it. Don't tell your brothers." So then he made up this story about how he saw Santa Claus like one Christmas, and me and my other brother believed him
Oh,
for
I'm
like
sure,
the longest time.
right? Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
Yeah, I would like stay up when I had like a tooth, like losing a tooth, because like I would like tell my parents like the tooth fairy better come tonight. I would look at them and they would assume like, I guess they would assume that like I didn't know, but I would tell them knowing that like I want my money for this tooth. Like I would like stay up to like to know that like I would be fake sleeping, but I would only fall asleep when like after my parents like lifted my head up and like put
Like-
the money down there.
How much did you guys get for your teeth?
Like a
A
buck.
quarter. Wow.
I got $3.
Wait, what?
What?
Not even kidding.
Dude,
I thought it was so much at the time too.
it is for a kid.
That was just incentive to like start pulling my own teeth.
Yeah, right.
Maybe, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tom can't relate to this, but Andrew might be able to. When you lost your tooth at school, did you get like those little treasure chests? Yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't a treasure chest. It was a little.
Like a little glass bottle.
It was a plastic tooth that you could open the top of.
Oh.
Around your neck.
What?
Yeah.
We got I didn't. What happened was we got like these little treasure chests. Like, every time like someone would lose a tooth when you were a kid, it happened a lot. They would come in like this little green thing, and I was like, I really want one. So when my tooth finally started wiggling and I lost it, I went to the nurse. And she gave me a Ziploc bag.
Dude, that's all I got. I always use the Ziploc bag.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what? This is not magical. I don't want to see this.
Amazing.
Do you remember that feeling of your tooth wiggling though? Isn't that
Yes,
the weirdest
it's
thing
so
if you think
gross.
about it now?
Yeah, and it like kind of hurt too.
Yeah, it kind of hurt, and you could kind of like feel it like still connected, but you were just like wiggling it, and, like pulling on it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I would like use my tongue and be like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's the weirdest feeling.
God,
now.
thinking
Like,
about
I
it makes me
I
cringe.
can remember the feeling, and it's just so weird.
yeah.
You know one of those like little tooth cases I was talking about?
Yeah.
I got one of those recently because I had a tooth taken out because I had that
Oh,
extra
okay.
tooth, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was born with another tooth, like a shark, you know, the rows of teeth. And
Yeah.
I had another tooth behind one of my premolars that came in
Okay.
like a couple months ago, and I'm like 23. I'm like, where's
Yeah.
this tooth coming from? Apparently, I've had it my whole life.
What?
And so
Weird.
I was like, I don't want this. And so then I went to the dentist, like, yeah, we can take that out. So they took it out. And
That's awesome.
I got another one of those things I used to get now.
Do you guys have your wisdom teeth out?
Nope.
Yes.
So that's why Andrew is the wisest among us.
So it would seem.
I asked to get my wisdom teeth after they took them out, and they're like, no, it's a biohazard. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I forgot to.
Yeah.
I forgot to
Like,
ask, and they
what?
didn't give them to me.
Yeah.
And that's what.
What method did you use to get it out?
Surgery.
No, but like, there's two different ways. You can't just.
Well, they like drugged me, and I fell asleep, and then they did whatever they needed to do, and when I woke up, they were gone.
Oh, yeah. See, I was awake through the whole thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's why I was
weird.
asking.
Yeah, no, I was asleep. Thank
yeah,
God.
they gave me those injections in my mouth, and they were just pulling on them, and I could feel it, and I'm just like, this is weird.
Yeah, I was awake for my recent tooth surgery.
It's a really weird feeling,
Yeah,
isn't it?
they like grab onto it and then they like pull it and then you,
feel
can
your
feel
jaw
your head
getting,
kinda
like,
jerking
cocked out,
around.
yeah.
Because isn't it just
Yeah.
like isn't it like if it's like a full tooth, it's like connected in the bone of your jaw, isn't it?
Kind of.
I actually
Is
don't
it-
know how that works. I know that sometimes they can expose the bone when they pull it out. Like
Yeah.
eye sockets, right? But which sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how it's rooted in there. It's enough that they have to use pliers to get
Yeah.
it out though.
Hey, if
Yeah.
you're a dentist, leave it in the comments below if you know.
A lot of dentists watching this
Yeah, dude.
stuff.
We are the primary dental podcast.
9 out of 10 dentists recommend this podcast.
Oh, that's funny.
It'll fill your cavity,
Yes.
any kind. No,
Any gaping hole in your life, this
Yes,
podcast.
yeah.
That's what that's for.
that's what I.
We're on our second podcast and we're only bragging. We should probably stop.
Nah, flex.
Flex
Not
on
bragging
them.
if it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Cool. Well, we're almost at an hour, so we should probably wrap it up here. But
It's also like 10:30. I need to go to bed. Oh, it's 10:45. Yeah, I
10:45,
need to go to bed.
Wow, look
yeah.
at that.
you know what's crazy is that like 10:45 now is like, oh my gosh, it's like 45 minutes past my bedtime. But in school, it was like, yeah, we could watch something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you want
Let's
to?
start the extended version of the Return of the King.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Or just like, hey, you want to go to Rice Park and go play Pokemon?
We
Pokemon
need
Go,
to talk
man.
about Pokemon Go at some point.
Yeah, we do.
The whole
Video-
2
dead.
weeks of it. It was so
Our
great.
gamer podcast, Gamers Rise Up.
I just remembered that we would go downtown like every night to play it
Yeah, dude.
in school
Yeah.
for like 2 or 3 weeks
It was
straight.
awesome.
And it's crazy because there was like 400 people there playing it one night. We would stampede down the street, and all the cars would have to stop.
It was amazing.
Stop doing that to these people.
Oh
We got to pull that up some point.
Yeah,
we got some dude like lied about like a really rare
it
Pokemon
Dragonite?
spawning.
No, it was a
somewhere.
Blastoise.
Oh,
yeah.
Blastoise.
Yeah, it
And
was a
this,
Blastoise.
this huge dude just goes up to the guy who like lied about it because like 300 people had rushed down the street to
Yeah.
find this thing. He goes, "Stop doing that to these people." And, like,
Yeah, he just started yelling
he
at him.
just
It was
yelled at the
crazy.
guy for like a minute, and
Yeah.
I think Andrew has like a video
I have
of
a
it.
video of the tail end of it. I can't
Yeah.
believe I found the guy though, because everyone's like, who said that? Where's the guy?" And then we
So
found
his friend,
him.
yeah, his friend sold him out. He's like, it was this dude.
Oh,
Good.
Don't
That's
want
funny.
to make 200 Pokemon goers mad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh man.
Wow.
Well, anyway, thank you guys for listening to this podcast, and
We took a detour from
took a detour
yeah.
from movies to books,
to teeth.
books to movies, whatever. We went to teeth. That's good stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will talk to you in the next podcast.
Bye.
Bye.